Welcome to Your Cyber Path, the podcast that helps you get your dream cybersecurity job by sharing the secrets of experienced hiring managers and top cybersecurity professionals with you. Now, on to the show.
And then, the other thing I want to talk to you about was, as you started building up your skills, you had mentioned, low cost training that you could afford, right? What are some good examples of that?
So the best example is the training from Anti-Siphon. So John Strand teaches 3 courses: Intro to SOC, Active Defense and Cyber Deception, and SOC Core Skills, or Intro to Security. So I would highly recommend checking those out because they're pay what you can up to $0. Because, and whether you want to become a SOC analyst or not, what you learn is like the fundamental skills you will be using throughout your career. So you learn, networking, you learn Linux, you learn Windows, and from that foundation, you can start looking into paid training. So I feel like some people, unfortunately, they start this industry, they start out, like, oh, I need to go to these boot camps, and they spend $10,000 on a boot camp where they could have learned a lot of that material on YouTube for free or cheap. Yep. So I would encourage you to start with the free stuff, and then move to the paid stuff.
Yeah, and I would echo that comment. Definitely, free is great. Paid is okay, and then there's different levels of pay, right? So, for instance, you mentioned John Strand stuff. He was actually a guest back on episode 61. So if anybody wants to go back and listen to that, it's yourcyberpath.com/61. And that will take you to our episode on skills-based certification and training with John Strand. He actually came from the SANS world where they were charging $5,000 to $8,000 per course. And he's like, it's great training, but not everybody can afford it. What can we do to change that? And that's where he came up with the anti-siphon model, which is where they do this pay where you can model that you went through. And it's an awesome, awesome model. And some people pay, $0, some people pay $50, some people pay $500. It's really just, what can you afford to do it? And because they're doing it at scale, where they might have 1,000, 5,000 people in a course, or even, a couple hundred people in a course, if everybody paid $5, that easily covers the instructor's salary that they can have that training. Some other free things that are out there, as you mentioned, YouTube is a great one. The only challenge with YouTube that you have is finding quality content. There are lots of channels out there that do awesome, great jobs, but there's also a lot of junk on YouTube, right? And a lot of it's just filled with trying to upsell you to something else, and things like that. So just keep that in mind as well. And then the other problem that I have with YouTube is that it's not a curated or linear progression. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say you want to go get your Security Plus. You could find all the information you need to pass Security Plus on YouTube 100% for free. But it's going to be really hard to find a single playlist or a single course, for lack of a better term, that covers everything from A to Z throughout the certification. So I find YouTube is great too. If you're looking for something specific, like how do I do Nmap scans, or how do I do a SQL inject against a Apache server? No, Apache server. What am I talking about? It's a MySQL server, right? Or a Microsoft SQL server, or something like that. You can find that kind of stuff on YouTube very well. Where I find a lot of, we mentioned, cheap options. YouTube is good, but when you go to a paid version, you may look at something like LinkedIn Learning. They have great courses. Pluralsight has good courses. Udemy's got great courses. Obviously, people who listen to this podcast know I love Udemy. I teach on Udemy. I teach all the cybersecurity stuff from A+ all the way up through CAS+ on Udemy. And those courses are, $10, $15, $20 usually. And that's going to give you really good videos, really good practice, really good study guides that is going to get you to passing your certification. So from a certification perspective, I really like Udemy, LinkedIn, Pluralsight, things like that. But when it comes to hands-on SOC skills, I think nothing really compares to what I've seen from Anti-Siphon and John Strand's folks, especially at that low cheap model, low price cheap model, or pay what you can model. And then there's also a lot of other stuff you can do out there, like these CTFs, that are really a really great way to learn, because as you're getting this challenge and it says, hey, here's a disk image, I want you to use Foremost and carve out the file that's from this old deleted file of this disk image. If you don't know how to do that, you can go on YouTube real quick and say, how do I carve a disk file? And it will show you, and then you can do that and then find out if you got it right, because you got the secret key that you were looking for in that CTF. So I really like doing things like that. I think it's a great way to do it. And then one other place I think is really good is Discord. Do you use Discord a lot?
Yes, I love Discord.
So what is your favorite place to hang out on Discord? Is there a certain group or server that you like?
I bounce around, but a few ones that stand out as like really excellent is the Black Hills one. I think they call it, they changed the name of it. I forget. name right now, but the BHIS one. Yeah. So there's so many. I think if you take a course from anybody, they'll probably have a Discord channel that you can hop into.
Yep. Yeah. So our company, Dion Training, we do have a Discord server as well. So if you want to jump in there and play in there, it is diontraining.com/Discord, and that'll redirect you over to our Discord server. We've currently got about 2,600 members in there. We also have a big group on Facebook, which has about 35,000 members. So we just started our Discord probably about 6 months ago. And at any given time, we've got several hundred people online. So if you're studying for a certification and you're like, hey, I'm working on my Security Plus and I don't understand this SQL inject thing, you can go in there and ask questions. Somebody will probably do a video and send it back to you or answer your questions and that kind of stuff. So lots of great stuff and lots of great places that you can go and get this information without having to spend a ton of money. Because again, Discord is completely free. And it's a great place to meet other people and chat with them, either voice or chat, text chat, and get some additional information.